Hello and welcome back to Monday's edition of Crypto Oh My God. And oh my God, it's exactly what has been going on. Because shit, it's looking like a scam out there. Anyway, guys, we put the big grifter in charge and we're getting some grifts. So let's hop into it real quick. I covered Trump on Saturday morning, the Trumpcoin, not the man himself. He's doing his inauguration right now. I'm not tuning in. I don't really care. But talking about the Trump coin, there was obviously a lot of reasons to be doubtful, a lot of problems with its issuance. However, after following the post that I did, it went up 2x and beyond. I think it was 2x when I posted from the night before. So we've been talking about there's been a lot of really great opportunities for people to profit, which is not necessarily the case with many what we would call a grift. But this has happened. Now, what was crazy though is that somewhere along the lines in the success, the green candles, we just see a giant red sell wall. And it's like, well, what happened? All right. And the second coin comes out, Melania. And that was just like the beginning of it. Then we start to get Barron. We're going to get Don Jr. We're going to get everybody in the family is going to get their own coin. I mean, are we going to look at Elon coin? Are we going to look at Jared Kushner coin? Like, Jeff Bezos coin? Like, where do we stop, right? Is it everyone that touches him? Everything that comes in? Like, how do we run this meta to the ground until we exhaust it? But funny enough, it kind of looks like it's exhausting already. So just looking into Twitter real quickly, Rand Nooner he used to be on CNBC and talking about it, and he goes, I was okay with the Trump coin, but like after Melania, it's kind of clear that they're grifting at the expense of the entire crypto community. Don't get me wrong, as my timeline shows, I've known about Melania beforehand, whatever. He's admitted to insider trading. This is like insane. And this is an exuberance, right? We start to see top signals and things that are scary when irrational exuberance comes up. I wouldn't call it irrational yet. This is obviously very silly. We're talking about a pretty stupid asset that has no meaning or worth. But there's also concerns to be had because when you come into public office, you are traditionally supposed to divest yourself of any business ownership relationships in which people could use that as a way to put money into it to curry favor, right? To influence votes based off of purchasing private shares of a company, yada, 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 right? We extend beyond that. But this is now in a position where you're like, this could be used as a tool for people to say, we will buy a ton of these Trump coins if XYZ occur. This is also problematic. We're looking at this right before he comes into the White House, and it's just like, I mean, there was a decent amount of Chinese inflow. Are we looking at like, is this a ByteDance opportunity to purchase up shares because TikTok was just made illegal? And do they want to reverse that decision? I mean, there's just so many questions coming into play that having this kind of gross opportunity to manipulate things is very much something of concern, I would say. And of course, just in terms of you in general and your own safety, we want to make sure that you're also not getting too caught up in any sort of narrative or story. Now, there was a great opportunity with Trumpcoin to buy and accelerate, but of course you see this wallet bought 1 million worth of Trump at launch at 18 cents, just exited for 300 million. And who has the resources, $1 million to toss into something like this without any diligence, right? Without any regard. So the exit is starting to happen. People are taking their capital and moving on. And now there's so many assets associated with this one, so many offshoots. There's Trump assets on both Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, like whatever chain wants to list it. If you can make the coin, you will make the coin, right? That's what we're looking at. Now, I presented some opportunities that I saw could be interesting in the last podcast. We talked about, does this asset actually become a tuning fork for public sentiment? Can we get some real utility out of this? It's kind of looking like maybe not. Maybe this is just the bullshit that we thought it was. And if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, well, shit, it might be a fucking duck. What I wanted to bring forth with the point of this channel is there are many people that really don't want to focus on politics in this industry. In the center, we have this utopian vision that we're really hoping to achieve, which is the free access to wealth creation tools, regardless of who you are. I don't really care about anything that has to do with identity, to be honest with you. All of these identifiers, your race, your color, your gender, all of these things are great wedge issues, but they have no place being intermediaries in you accessing, let's say, a loan or a mortgage or something that can help oneself take sovereignty over their own lives. And to bring that point forward, I'm just very excited. It's Martin Luther King Day, and I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed, We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. That is the goal of blockchain, and that is what I hope to instill on this channel. So when Bitcoin came out, it was very much a way for the individual to hold a hard form of money, with the basic take being that the banks are malicious and that one should not trust them as an intermediary between you and your money, that they have an advantage that is not in the public's benefit, and that this fiat printing system is not the path forward for humanity. Then Vitalik comes out and creates Ethereum. And Ethereum's saying, hey, we love this idea of digital money like Bitcoin, but what if we could build applications on top of it? What if we took this idea and made it an operating system? And there we have entire markets called DeFi, where people can buy, or where people can borrow and lend and do all of these interesting things. And if we look at the access that the average American has to banking, I think there's actually a skew based off of where you're really coming from. So in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King, and this weekend, I really want to address that blockchain does solve this, right? Blacks households have less access to banks. This is because of the, how many banks are in their neighborhood, what sort of distance they have to travel to. But then there's also an implicit bias in every one of us. And who are these bankers? Are they from the same background? Are they even given license from higher up to give out loans to these people? If anybody wants to learn a little bit more about this through the magic of cinema, I do highly recommend The Banker. It takes place around 1960s, give or take, I think 20 years on each side, and does go very deeply into how it was manipulated and how the entire system was created to keep people out of wealth creation. We can expand that even a little farther by realizing that women were only just given access to open their own bank accounts. This was only about 50 years ago. So the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, I believe 1972 comes out, and it expels any requirements to have a signatory come in with you. So for example, women were unable to get lines of credit or really take control of their money without having the signature of a man attached to them. So this is all very recent, and the developments that we've even taken to get to the current banking system have only been around for 50 years in this instance. Now, all of that is built on top of a system that was meant to have these intermediaries, meant to have these biased players that can enact regulations, they can enact racism, they can enact gender discrimination. There's no reason why in a digital world we require these intermediaries to be there. It's just unnecessary. And the idea behind Ethereum is that anyone can come into an application like this is AAVE. And if you have an asset, if you have Ethereum, if you have stable coins, they're even beginning to expand this to NFT projects of actual worth, but you can borrow against that. You could actually take out a mortgage to purchase a home via digital assets. If you have Bitcoin, you could take out a loan against that. There is tax advantages to taking out loans versus selling the assets outright. There's no capital gains in that regard. And as the asset begins to accrue underneath, you might want to repay that loan so that you can capture that accrual while making things happen in real life with the borrowed money. So this is just an application with an algorithm that simply checks your wallet and says, do you or do you not have this asset? If you do, sign this contract right now or sign this transaction and we will execute. There is no identifier involved in this transaction. It is just a confirmation that you are indeed committing the assets that you have on hand. And again, it doesn't really matter who you are and everything that comes with it. Now, for those of you that are exhausted by the Trumpcoin phenomenon from all of this meme coin madness, I can recommend enough looking at things like AAVE. I'm not going to say you should invest in it. They all have coins, but this is a system that is self-functioning, that does participate through yield payments, and basically this is what blockchains are striving for. These financial ecosystems that are autonomous, that reward all network participants, and strive to bring people together to increase access and self-sovereignty. Other assets that if you want to look at maybe more in the Solana ecosystem, Solana got so overwhelmed yesterday from all of this meme coin madness that Phantom Wallet said it processed 80,000 requests on the app. Now, one of the Solana longevity assets that actually got hit pretty hard and is going to be debugged around this is called Jito. It does processing in what's known as MEV. And ordering the transactions and basically making the blockchain go farther. I just recommend looking at things like this and like AAVE on Ethereum, because these are platforms and technologies that are built to last for a very long time. They extend beyond the memes. I just picked these to kind of show you equal access on opportunities, but these are by no means like the only two you should look at. I will cover many protocols that I believe have long-term value. I'm never going to pitch that you should invest in these things, but you should definitely get on there and try and push some buttons and see what you can do. Guys, it's extremely nuts out there. It's been a wild weekend, and I hope you have the best of luck.